Hello book lover, welcome to my channel. My name is Kay and today we're going to be doing a fall book tag filled with clean and Christian fiction books. I was pleasantly surprised that earlier this week, Katie from Paperbacks and Ponytails over here on YouTube tagged me in the Finally Fall book tag, and this was just such a fun tag. I couldn't pass up doing it for you. If you don't follow Katie's channel, I absolutely recommend her. She recommends a lot of clean and Christian fiction, and I just absolutely adore her so much. So thank you so much for tagging me, Katie. With this tag, it is called the Finally Fall book tag. So there is a prompt that is fall themed, and then you find a book to fit the prompt. I will just say not every single book that I'm recommending is a fall book per se, because I think the past several videos I've recommended a lot of the fall Christian fictions that I own, and I just kind of want to dive into some other of the books that I have that also fit these prompts. So all of these books I have read, I think except for 3 of them, and there was only one prompt that I could not find an answer to, and I'll just go ahead and tell you what that prompt was. The prompt was pumpkin spice everything, and it says, a book everyone seems to love but you might not. And I'll just say, I do not buy books if I don't think I'm going to like them. This is one thing that I've really appreciated about the Christian fiction side of BookTube, is not everybody is reading the same books. I feel like there's a couple that people have raved about, and then I have gone and read those and I have loved them. When I was watching more of the secular side of BookTube, everybody's reading the same book. Everybody's recommending the same books, and while that's all fine, I've just come to really appreciate this part of BookTube. So I can't answer this question because if I don't think I'm gonna like a book, I'm not going to pick it up, and not everybody is recommending all the same books. So it's not like there's a book that everybody loves that I don't think I'm going to like. So that's the only one I couldn't answer. I think it's a super cute prompt. If there's a book that you think I might not like in the Christian fiction world, like, leave it in the comments. Let's be a little pumpkin spicy here. I'm curious what you think I might not like based off of what I have liked. Okay, so the first prompt is crunching leaves. The world is full of colors. Choose a book that has red, orange, or yellow on the cover. For this prompt, I actually just picked up this book from Amanda Book Lover's Pango Bookstore. I personally had never heard anything about it before, but when I saw the cover, I immediately was like, I need this book, it looks so cute. But then when I realized what it was, I even more so thought that I needed this book, and that is Secrets Between the Shelves. So we've got like orange floor, yellow chair, red carpet. We've got like these golden brown bookshelves. So literally it fits that prompt perfectly, and this one might be a good one to read in the fall. It's actually 4 cozy bookshop mysteries. This is like a 400-page book, and each cozy mystery, it's a little over 400 pages. Each cozy mystery, I'm guessing, is going to be about 100 pages. The titles and authors are A Murder in the Mystery Section by Cynthia Hickey, The Secret Passage Bookstore by Linda Bayton Johnson, By Hook or by Book by Teresa Ives Lilly, and The Missing Chapter by Marilyn Turk. So I'm definitely excited. I think this one would be a fun one if I'm just sitting by a fire to pick up, read a quick cozy mystery, and put it down and go back to my other regular books. The next prompt is Cozy Sweater Weather, a book that feels like a warm hug. And I could not think of anything except Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I love this book. It is a classic. I read this for the first time maybe 2 or 3 years ago, and I took my time going through it. I remember listening to it on audio, and there's just something so sweet about this story. If you don't know what this is about, it's pretty much where you're just following 4 sisters through childhood to early adulthood and the struggles and things that they face in life, and they all take such different paths in life, but how they're still there for each other as sisters. And it's so beautiful. I can't really give like an overall synopsis because there's so much that happens in this, but you're just following these 4 sisters through life, and it is so beautiful. And this book for sure feels like a warm hug. There are so many moments that are just so huggable in this book. The next prompt is Crisp Fall Air, a book that made you feel refreshed or gave you a new perspective. So this is one that I actually read in September, and I had to take my time going through it because there are some heavier themes in this, but this is one of the most thought-provoking books that I have read in a very, very, very long time. I can't think of anything that has made me think as much as this book, and that is All She Ever Wanted by Lynn Austen. So this book was recommended to me by a friend, and I'm so glad she recommended this to me because there was so much in this book that I related to. There are quite a ton of trigger warnings in this book, so I will leave those in the description box. But the main trigger warnings that I think people need to know of, like child neglect, there is suicide, and like death of spouses, and it's like there's a whole plethora of things of this book. So if you are trigger warning sensitive, maybe don't read this book. I will say there's no like death of children or death of animals or anything like that in this, but there are some other very heavy themes in this. But this book, you are following 3 generations of women. So you're following the main character, her mother, and then her grandmother. The story just tells you how what people went through as children and as young adults, how that impacts how they are parents or how they see the world. I grew up in a home where there were a lot of things that went on that I just couldn't understand why they were happening, and like when I look back at that still as an adult, I think, wow, that was a lot for a kid to go through. But reading this book, it truly did open my eyes in a way that I didn't know they could be opened, and just really gave me some more sympathy for my parents, my grandparents, my great-grandparents. I really don't know how to explain this book, but it is one that I think is going to stick with me forever, and it is truly just one that is making me think, and I'm still thinking about this, and it's been a couple weeks since I finished reading it. This book was just, in essence, beautiful. I'm at a loss for words of how much I loved this book. At first, I wasn't sure I could do it because it was really heavy and a lot of things I related to. I just kept reading, and I'm so thankful that I did. This is a Christian fiction book. There are faith threads through this, so that was something that was really great to see. I loved everything about this when it was all said and done. It just tied together so beautifully. The next prompt is Apple Picking, a book you picked up on a whim and ended up loving. And that book that I picked up totally on a whim was Edenbrook by Julian Donaldson. So this was a whim pick for me because I have never really been a Regency or historical fiction reader. I've read a few, but I saw so many people like recommended this one and loved this, and I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. It's really short, and I can't stop thinking about this book. There are so many scenes that are just on replay in my head, and this book I feel like is going to be an annual reread for me. There's so many times since I finished this that I've just wanted to pick it up and read it again. Specifically, the love letter scene, if you know, you know. I keep thinking about that and I just get like goosebumps every single time and just smile so much. If you don't know what this book is about, it's basically about this girl who ends up getting invited by her sister to come to an estate and spend several weeks there. She's like super tired in her hometown, and when she gets there, she meets a very annoying man. And then she bumps into him later, and there's just banter, and I don't want to go too into it because I want you to go into this surprised, but it is so good. 5 stars, 500 stars. This is literally top favorite books of all time. The next prompt is Scary Movie Night, a book that genuinely spooked you. So I do not read scary, gory types of books. I try not to. I know I've made a couple mystery book videos lately, but that's because I'm diving into Christian fiction mystery. So I've always kind of swayed from books. Like if I know this is like a ghost story, I'm not going to read it. If I know this is a monster or demonic or a gory murder story, I know I'm not going to read it. So Instead, for this prompt, I chose a book that I think is going to spook me. And I haven't read this one yet, but I would like to, and that is This Present Darkness by Frank E. Peretti. So what I know about this book is it is basically taking place in this small town, and it has a ton to do with spiritual warfare. I've heard it compared to the Screwtape Letters by C.S. Lewis, and if you don't know what the Screwtape Letters are, it's basically where there is this demon who's writing letters to his nephew to tell him how to like get people onto the dark side, essentially. But it's really creepy, but it definitely dives into the enemy's tactics that he actually uses. And this book was so hard to find a copy of. They like don't sell it on Amazon, and if they do, it's like $50. You can't find it in any online bookstores. I checked thriftbooks.com and it was so expensive a couple months ago, and I got lucky looking on Pango Books. I found it for like $2. So I don't know if this is like out of print, if they're redoing the covers. I'm not sure, but the copy I got, like, look how old this book is. You see how, like, it doesn't look as bad on camera, but it's, like, really orange around the sides. And you know what? I kind of love that. So that is This Present Darkness. Oh, we got a visitor. So I think this is gonna spook me solely because of the spiritual warfare aspect of this, but I also feel like stories like this are really important for Christians and believers to read. The next prompt is Football Season, a book that had you cheering for the characters like they were your team. And that book I also finished last month, and I cannot recommend this one enough. That is Resistance by J.L. Knight. This is a Christian fantasy, the Ilion Chronicles. This is the first book. This is a pretty hefty series, but this book, the allegory in this was insane. The faith that the characters have for God in this world is named Elohim. Their faith was so good. So many times when the world around them was pressuring them to bend to the ways of the world, and they decided to stay strong. It was just so mind-blowing. You're following two main characters. Now, there are quite a few points of views, but mostly you're following Kyron Altair, and she is basically a girl who's gifted with like a photographic memory, and the Emperor wants her to be basically one of his personal court servants, essentially, and she follows Elohim, who is the illegal god to follow, but Elohim represents the Christian god. And the Emperor is basically a very dangerous person to be around because he wants people that follow Elohim to be imprisoned or dead because he sees it as a threat against him and his throne. And then you also follow Jace, and Jace is a human, but he's also part something called a Ryrik, and they're kind of like superhuman. All of society essentially hates these Ryrik people because they are dangerous and yada yada yada. Well, Jace in this, he very early on, he meets a man who follows Elohim, and he starts to get to know Elohim in this story. It's so beautiful, and essentially this resistance you are learning as you're going through the story. There are people that they want to resist the Emperor and his rules that following Elohim should be illegal and all that kind of stuff. But it is so good. But this one for sure had me cheering for the characters because as I'm reading this, I'm like, those are my brothers and sisters in Christ. Stick it to the man, you guys. You guys keep holding on your beliefs and stay strong. And I just loved it so much. It was so, so good. The next prompt is Changing Leaves, a book where a character goes through a major transformation. And the number one book that I thought of for this prompt, I literally don't think another book I could put in this prompt. An Echo in the Darkness by Francine Rivers. This is actually book 2 in a series. The first one is called A Voice in the Wind. I'm not going to go into too much detail on this book because I don't want to give any spoilers, but essentially you are following the main character Marcus, and he's trying to figure out who God is. This book takes place after the temple destruction in 70 AD, and there's a lot of just demonic things going on in the world, very scarily, eerily similar to modern modern day United States. He is just your run-of-the-mill super rich person, but because of the ending of the first book, he is really mad at the idea of a Christian God at the beginning of this book, and he decides he's going to figure out what the heck this Christian God is about and why he would do such terrible things. And this is the most beautiful testimony of a character I have ever read in my life. I was sobbing so many times throughout this. It was so good. This is called the Mark of the Lion trilogy. If you haven't read it, I highly recommend. I plan to read book 3 next month because I don't want to space it out too far, so I'm so far away from when I read the first 2 books, but I loved this so much, and Marcus's transformation is insane. Pumpkin Patch, your favorite fall theme or autumn set book. So for this one, I don't physically own a copy of it, and I need to physically own a copy of it. And that book is Can't Help Falling by Courtney Walsh. This one is just for my rom-com romance lovers. It's super cute. It's about this girl who runs a romance podcast. People will email her for relationship advice, and she answers it, but the thing is I think she's like never been in a relationship, but she was in love with her best friend's brother, Owen. I think it's her best friend's brother. It's been a minute since I've read this. But Owen, I don't remember if he like got engaged to somebody else or he ran away for a wedding or something like that. And they never saw each other again. Well, he ends up coming back to the small town that they live in, and he is a firefighter. And in the beginning of the book, he ends up basically saving our main girl from a fire because her house got caught on fire. And so thus the story of them kind of reconnecting unfolds, and it's set in the fall time, so there's just some like fall vibes in it, but it's a super cute story, very, very squeaky clean, no curse words, nothing like that. Courtney Walsh is a Christian. However, I don't remember there being super strong faith threads through this book, but it was really cute and I would recommend it for a romance reader. I will say this next prompt is my favorite prompt because it just sounds so cute, and that is Bonfire Nights, a book you want to read with friends or discuss in a group. Like, could you imagine having a book club around a bonfire with s'mores and hot cocoa with your bookish girlfriends or friends if you're a guy watching this, and just getting to talk about books around the bonfire under the stars? Like, are you kidding me? That just sounds like a dream. So the book that I actually picked for this one is All My Secrets by Lynn Austen. So I chose this one because of the other Lynn Austen book that I recommended earlier. It was so impactful and so profound to me that this is also a multi-generational story by Lynn Austen, and I feel like it's a story that I would like to talk about with other people as I'm reading it, because I have a feeling she will be just as impactful in this book as she was in that other book. So this one, I don't want to go too into depth of it, but it says 3 generations of women in one family must reckon with the choices they have made and their hopes for the future. Essentially, the man in the family that had all of the wealth, he ends up dying and leaving all of his money and everything to the closest male heir in the family. So all of the women, they pretty much lose everything, and they're on a journey to figure out how to survive after that happens. And I'm sure there's just going to be a lot of beautiful going back in time moments and learning about their past. And yeah, so I think this would be a great one to read with a group, because there was so much that I got from All She Ever Wanted from Lynn Austen that I feel like this could be an impactful book for other people too. The next one, Hay Rides and Corn Mazes, a book that kept you guessing and had a lot of twists and turns. So this one's kind of hard for me because all of the mystery books that I have read so far have not been Christian fiction, and there's a lot of books that I have read that did keep me twisting and turning. However, I don't want to recommend them on here because I wouldn't read them anymore. One that I could think of that I think I could get away with mentioning is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. I can't remember if there's language in her books. There probably is, but I don't remember there being anything too gory. It had spooky, eerie feelings in it. So essentially this, I think, husband and wife, they are house hunting and they end up getting trapped in a snowstorm in this mansion, and their realtor never shows up, and there's just a lot of odd things that happen, but they have to stay in this house because the storm outside is so bad. So this house used to belong to like a psychologist psychologist or something, and she ended up going missing several years before, and they end up finding some clues, and you're kind of piecing together what happened to this psychologist, and it was definitely twisty towards the end of it. So I guess just definitely use your discretion whether you would read this one or not, because it's not a Christian fiction author, but it was one that did keep me guessing. The next one, Thankful Heart, a book you're grateful exists. I am going to be super cliche about this one, and I'm not even sorry about it. You might already know what I'm going to say, but I am picking the good old-fashioned Holy Bible because I am so grateful this book exists. I am more grateful that this book exists over any other book ever. It has had the most impact on my life, the most impact on anybody's life who has read this book. And yeah, I don't think I need to say too much. I, say thank you. Just thank you to God for putting this in our hands. What a privilege that is. And yeah, just thank you, Jesus, for what you've done on the cross for us. And I love the Bible. I'm so thankful this exists. The last prompt is First Frost, a book that gave you chills, whether in a spooky, atmospheric, or emotional way. And I am choosing a book that I just started reading like yesterday, I think, and I have been so looking forward to it, and it has already kind of gave me spooky chills, and that is The Curious Inheritance of Blakely House. I know I've talked about this a lot. I'm not going to go too in depth of what this is about. This lady essentially just gets an inheritance for an estate, and there's just a lot of weird, odd things around it. So this gave me chills so already, because in chapter 1, the main character, she pretty much runs a clock antique oddities type of shop with her aunt. She's in the shop, she's helping customers, there are some angry people coming in, but there's this one lady who is just kind of like hiding in the shadows of the shop, and she's like wearing this veil, and it's all just super mysterious, and every single time she mentions this lady, I was just like, oh, that's just kind of weird, because this lady's just kind of like watching her. Then when people come in, the lady goes and hides, and it's just kind of like, ooh, just a little spooky, So I definitely got spooky vibes from this. I will say the beginning of this book takes place in March, and apparently Blakely House that she is inheriting is actually a seaside cottage. So I'm not sure how many fall vibes are gonna come in this, but this book just like screams Halloween time, so I don't know, but definitely that first chapter was giving me the spooky chills. In the comments, I want you to do me a favor. I want you to pick one of these prompts, or as many as you want, and I want you to tell me what book you would choose for them. I think tags are so fun, but they're so fun when you do them with other people. So with that being said, I would also like to tag, let's see, I would like to tag Bookish Kelly, I would like to tag the Lucy Chronicles, and I would like to tag the Canson Reader. So ladies, I would love to see your videos, and if you watch this and you just want to do this tag for fun, tag me in it because I want to watch your videos. Everybody is tagged in the comments. Please answer one of the questions, or leave me some autumn leaf emojis if you made it this far in the video. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I appreciate you. I love your support, and you mean so much to me, and I hope you have the best weekend ever. I hope you feel overwhelmed by the love of Jesus this week, and I will see you next Friday.